Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Well, thought I'd bring you along and show you here another disc chisel that we got. And this here's a Krause, and this chisel here came from our same neighbor that we got the red tractor from, the red 305. Well, red and gold 305. But it's a Krause, and I've actually just last week I've actually finished putting all new bearings in the disc gangs down here. I didn't get any video of that because it was just too much hassle. But yeah, put all new bearings into it because it had at least there are at least two that were gone, and all the rest that were not gone were definitely going. They're either getting loose and or kind of froze up. So put all new bearings into it. Put new 4-inch shovels on it. And this thing here was originally, and you can see it, a 13 shank. And it would have been long before my neighbor even got it. Somebody went and dropped 2 shanks off the thing, and you can see where they've kind of readjusted everything, trying to kind of reset everything, because right here, and yeah, there's the mark on that one. That's where number 12 and 13 were at. And what I'm guessing is whoever got this thing way back years ago probably did not have enough horsepower to pull it, and so they dropped 2 shanks off. Well, then they sold it, and then they didn't put them back on. I've checked with Krause to see if they are available, and no longer available. And so that's why for an 11 shank, on all our other disc chisels, the other 4, we run 3-inch shanks. But for this one right here, and you can see how far apart the shanks are, that's why we run 4s. That way it throws more dirt. So, want to put some new tires onto it because you can see these here. In fact, that right there is like an old plug stuck out through what appears to have been an old hole. And that right there, just waiting for a nice green corn stub to poke into it. So I want to put some new tires on it. Here on the rim, it's got a date code of 389. So March of 89, and that's what I'm guessing this thing probably is. It's probably a 1989. And so when I have the tires off, I'll probably go ahead and check the wheel bearings, make sure they're good to go. But something else we had to do, and my neighbor did also on his setup, had to put a new cylinder on it. And he gave us the old cylinder that he had run. And the thing we had to do though is, in fact, I've just got done putting all these stops on it, cylinder stops. And because the original cylinder had one of those little push pins, and it's actually laying right over here on the floor, where you got the little piece here that you tighten on the ram, and it's got the little pin that when it comes down, it trips that and stops it. Well, we checked out about a new cylinder like that, $1,800. Forget that. We can just buy several cylinder stops and adjust it from right here. This cylinder here I think was $575, so yeah, big difference. So I'm going to grab a couple more supplies, and we're going to run out in the field and test this thing. Now before we head to the field, I feel I'll show you right quick. Kind of hard to see on camera unless I can show you some of the points. But okay, here on these front points, you can see how it appears to be almost kind of wanting to sit more on its nose, because the back points are just touching the ground. The front points I can see are carrying all the weight. this thing's got quite a wide range of adjustment, and you can take and adjust the tongue however you want to do it. And I can see there's a paint line right there, and so it appears like it was at one time in that hole, and I'm wondering if I might not have to go back to that one or this one. We'll wait and see. Cross that bridge when we come to it. But first off, let's run out here in the field and check it out. Okay, just got pulled into the old wheat field here. So this is just a good spot to make a few test runs and see how things work. Not gonna go very fast. Can't see it on camera, but right straight ahead of me there's a power pole over there on the next road over. So there's the chisel. But here in time, I'll be out here at the disc, and I want to disc down all this wheat stubble anyway. And so now's a good time to test out the chisel. That way I can disc it all back smooth again. So I'll poke along here in the 7th gear and we'll see what happens. Okay. Drop it down. Well, I can see right now, obviously, it needs to go down more. I've got too many stops in the thing. Definitely not digging deep enough. Okay, take my old yardstick. Oh, we're about 6 to 7 inches deep. So, gotta take and pop a stop out over here, take and drop it on down more. I can definitely tell those 4-inch shanks do throw more dirt compared to the 3s. Let's see. Okay, that right there, that's a 1/2 inch. Well, I guess just over a 1/2 inch. That might be like a 5/8 inch spacer. This one here, okay, yeah, that's about inch. That's an 1.25 inches. Maybe I'll take and pop that 1.25 inches out of there. Let's see what that does. All right, now we got the 1.25 inches out. Let's take off and see what happens now. Well, that definitely sunk it in more. We've actually been having quite a bit of dry weather, and so it's kind of having a hard time going in the ground. I can tell it is pulling though. Seems to be doing a decent job though. Okay, well, I'm going to stop and jump out and check my depth and see what it's looking like. Okay, let's see what we got here. Alright, now that's some more like it. We generally shoot for 8 to 10 inches, and from what I'm seeing, the way that right there's close to 9. Kind of from what I'm seeing, okay, that's better. Now I can get to the top of the ground, but yeah, right there's about 9 to 10. like I say, with the ground being dry, it's like it was last fall when we tried disc chiseling. Not quite as bad, but I can still tell though it's kind of having a hard time going in somewhat. However, that length for the spacer seems to be about right. Now I thought I may have to adjust that tongue. However, when the thing drops in the ground, it appears to actually be running pretty level, which is what I want. Back here in the cab, been messing around with the depth, trying to get things set, and I think I've almost got it kind of fine-tuned in. I can tell you one thing, I know the ground is hard because it's pulling hard. Generally we run over here on the thing, well, you can't really see it, but we run 9th gear right around 1850 when we're pulling the big disc. With this thing here, I'm running 8th gear full throttle, which is right about 2100. And I know it's back there. It's a pulling. Anyway, pulling out of the field there with the drone back over here at the shed, and had to play around there with the depth control, trying to get the approximately figured out where I want to go, and I think I finally got it. I can definitely tell these 4-inch points, they definitely throw a lot more dirt compared to the 3-inch. However, with this being knocked down from a 13 to an 11 shank, it needs that wider point to be able to throw more dirt. And as you saw there on the drone, from everything I was seeing, I like the job it's doing. So I think we'll be happy with it. Clean the junk out from behind here. So, all right, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna call this and end the video. So hope you enjoyed it. So take care. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.